And we are here to have an interview with Marco and Sarah, who formed Ageless and Agile. So I think the first question is, how did it go about? How did you form Ageless and Agile?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
How did we form Ageless and Agile? That's a very good question. So that came about really, it was a lot of other projects we had years gone by that had maybe finished, and we had lots of ideas of what could work.
Yeah.
And Ageless kind of came out of that, but it was new as well. So although it was partly built on things we'd done in the past, it was new, and we tried to make it helpful for people of all ages. So there'd be fun activities and quizzes and interaction, and then sort of learn from that really, the experience that we'd already had.
I mean, that is fair. So, like, what would you say was your main mission statement to do with?
I suppose with Ageless and Agile, we're trying to make it as inclusive for everybody as we can. My part is to do the activity largely, so it's adapting that for people of all ages, but also different health conditions.
That's fair.
You know, which we can do. We try and make people feel as relaxed as possible when they're there. The social part's really an important part for us as well.
Definitely.
And well-being seems it is supported by Shine, so that's really important for us, I would say.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, was there like a defining moment that like made you passionate about fitness and, you know, active aging and all that?
Yeah, I'll go. Shall I go? Okay. For me, I've always loved sports and activity. I used to do a lot when I was younger myself. Then I got more into the coaching role. I've worked with all different ages. It's so rewarding for me to work with different people and them to get something really positive out of it, whether it's like a health outcome or whether it's just them really enjoying being there.
That's perfectly fair. But like, also like, so what types of activities do you normally do in Ageless and Agile? So what's available?
Types of activities. Yeah, quite a wide range there. So we're catering for a lot of different ages and abilities. So it could be things from having a good chat over a cup of tea. It could be doing a quiz. It could be a lot of things that Sarah's just mentioned there. It could be seated exercise, having a game of bocce. It could be talking about important topics like keeping your heart healthy and raising awareness of things going on in the community. So just really to get people together and have a chat and connect people.
If you had unlimited funding for the next 5 years, what's the biggest project you'd launch?
We'd love some funding for 5 years. So with our job, it's always quite difficult, the funding. So the projects are usually funded for a short amount of time. So we're trying to get as much as we can out of that time as we can. And the funding often changes over the years you do in the programme. If we could do it for 5 years, we would want to be similar to what we're doing now, but on like a much bigger scale. So that we could really, offer it to people for free instead of there being a charge as well, so that people, it's a bit more accessible for people. Obviously we're already in a few different areas, so Skegness, Louth, Horncastle and Mablethorpe, but maybe in different areas as well, offering it out to different groups. Anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, maybe doing some interesting little one-off things as well, going places. That's not been something we can do hugely at the moment. So maybe organising trips out to places, giving people experience of things they've never tried before, would be something we would want to make part of it as well.
And if Ageless and Agile was a person, how would you describe their personality?
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. What do you think? How would you describe the personality?
Ageless and Agile was a person. Well, this person would have to be a very easygoing, relaxed person, first of all, who was very welcoming and was non-judgmental. So they would accept all people that came along. They'd always have a kind and encouraging word for you. They'd always be approachable, and you'd want to spend time. You'd want to go to see that person. You want to be a friend of that person.
Do you watch football at all?
Do you watch football?
We sometimes talk about football in
Yeah,
sessions. It does crop up from time to
We're both
time.
football fans, so yes, it's definitely yes.
Yes.
Every time when I come in,
Some
Man
people
U.
like to talk about football at the sessions.
Yes.
and Man U's going down.
Who do you guys support?
Oh dear.
Yeah, who you support?
This causes a bit of controversy.
Who
So
you
we
support?
travel together in the car as well. So I'm Man United because that's the only option, isn't
Boo.
it? And unfortunately,
No, lost.
I'm obviously the only club that counts the Liverpool fan. So top of the league. Just wanted to mention that, obviously.
it is very controversial. Sometimes it's
Yes,
best
it
not
is. So
to be
how do we
discussed.
get on this subject?
Yeah, and I'm afraid Man U's gonna lose. See, I'm afraid Man U's not got
I always know
any
you're
choice.
I always know you're going to keep me grounded.
Yeah, I think Man U's not got any choice.
But I'm glad how you avoid the club and you never say we're going down.
Yeah, but Chelsea's going up. Hey, I'll tell you, Chelsea's going up. If you've seen the leaderboard, that's the Chelsea going up.
Yeah, so going back to sort of like the past question. So, say for like people who are signing up and are just nervous about what really they would like to do or get started, how flexible would you say your sessions are?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, we try to be really flexible and accommodating. We have a lot of people that come on the programme that may be struggling a bit with their mental health. So probably quite nervous, quite anxious. We've got a few people I can sort of think of that would be a really big thing for them to get to the session initially. We operate it so sort of casually that if people feel that they need to go out and have a little break, we've got areas that they can go and do that. People come along with support workers if they need to. Yeah, we try to make it. It is a big daunting thing for someone to come along to a session to start with, and especially if there's a lot of people in the group already. But we hope that we sort of do the best that we can.
Yeah, because if you think if anyone going to any group, if that group's been going for a while, the first thing you often think is everybody knows everyone but me, so I'll be isolated and it's quite stressful. Now, add on top of that someone who maybe struggles with stress and anxiety more than the average person. It's going to be a big challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah,
that's
definitely.
why what Sarah was saying is very important.
You want to make sure you make it welcoming for somebody who's starting for the first time. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Absolutely. So then they'll come back, won't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would say like first, I would say like I suffer from like anxiety like myself, and I've had that. And normally the first session is the one you get the biggest impression from.
Yeah.
So
You do, yeah.
and if that goes well, you are gonna want to come back. So that's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
That's
good,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and thinking about that as well. So how many days do you run it? Is it like a weekly thing? Is it like 3 days a week, that kind of thing?
So every week, 4 sessions. So Monday we go to Mablethorpe, and then Tuesday we're in Skegness. Thursday we're out back in Louth, what I call base camp at the
Base
Meridian
camp,
Leisure
Louth.
Centre. And then Friday we're in Horncastle at Ancaster Court. So they last from about 1.5 hours to 2 hours depending on the venue.
That's fair.
Lots of different activities within that time slot.
Yeah. Oh,
How do people find you guys? Would you say, do you market yourself out there? Like, how would someone who you think would be good for your sessions actually find you guys?
That's a good question. This is an area we're really still working on as we're going through. So we do have a marketing team at Magnavita who we work for that do a little bit for us. But we found, which we're actually doing after we've been here today, that sort of either go and engaging with people in the community, putting up leaflets in places that people might be, so the doctors, libraries, job centre, trying to work with people we've worked with before as well, seeing if there's people that they feel would really benefit from the group.
good way of doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, we're always open to ideas. Some people say, "Oh, I couldn't find it online," or some people say, "Oh, well, I don't do anything online." So it's trying to really find a broad way of reaching as many people.
Absolutely, and I think also another big area is we have contact with things like the NHS neighbourhood teams, so they have a huge area where they can feed it into, and a lot of other public health initiatives. So we know there's a big old network out there that the leaflets I've gone into, platform housing, medical, but we're just trying to do up it a little bit in Skegness and some of the other areas.
What's the most surprising or unexpected success story you've seen from someone in your programme?
That's a good question. It's hard, isn't it, to just nail one immediately. Do you
Yeah.
often think of the one at Skegness? that I'm
Yeah,
thinking
I
of?
think I'm thinking. Yeah, we're probably thinking of the same
Yeah.
person. There's been some really good ones. So for me, in terms of, I'll go from terms of exercise first. We had some people that were really struggling with maybe having some falls. The groups are really different. So some of our groups are an awful lot older. The Skegness group is so much younger than all our other groups. That's
Absolutely,
why
yeah.
we change the sessions as we go for each group.
Yep.
But they were sort of struggling with maybe some falls, needing to work on their balance and their strength a little bit, just to stay independent at home, really. So they're obviously wanting to stay at home as long as they can, be able to be out in the community as much as they can. But we've worked on strength and balance with them, and they've come in and said it's made a big difference to just their daily lives, able to do things easier, getting up out of the chair. So that for me is really good in terms of the activity. The one we're probably thinking of together is more of a mental health focus with someone that was very isolated, also not very old, but really struggling. Came along with a support worker to begin with.
That's right.
Now feels it's their safe space to be there.
That's good.
Able to come, really contributes to the group as well.
Oh yeah.
That is really good.
And still struggling with other areas, but that he always feels welcome there.
He
And
always
doing
knows
really
what's
well.
the environment. He knows what to expect. So it's safe. It's not going to be anything out of the ordinary. And he knows, obviously, the leaders who are there. They're not going to change. So that's very settling. But yeah, in general, we've seen quite a lot of people who have improved their communication, because a lot of people who sit at home, they don't communicate, they don't talk very much. And we're all wired to connect, aren't we? It's one of the 5 areas of mental well-being. So you can get people communicating more, they find it easier to do other things in life, and their own well-being is improved as well. So we've seen a lot of those success.
Quite nice to hear and stuff, because I feel that mental health is a subject that's usually overlooked, but it's good to hear that there's success in that area.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of success. Definitely.
Yeah, it's glad now that because it used to just be, it used to be very overlooked, but now it's become so important, and it is important.
Yeah.
And this is a good way of it as well, because exercising that actually has been proven to help with mental health.
Yeah.
Is there many opportunities for volunteers to join on with you to maybe help you, or are you not at that stage yet?
I think there is opportunity. I mean, for instance, when we do a session, if somebody was there and they wanted to help out, making some cups of tea or coffee or handing things out, or just chatting with people, that side of things. That's
We have someone that also brings in some quizzes they've maybe made or done
That's
at other
right.
groups. They'll say, "Can I contribute a section of this week?" A couple of
They do,
people, aren't they? So
that's right.
people normally in the group, we have people come in externally
Yep.
to do sort of more of an education. So we've looked at sort of scams and
That's right.
we've looked at some technology, and we've had some people come in to talk about different areas of that for people.
Yes.
So we try and think things that would be relevant for them, and we've had external people come in and do a little bit of a talk.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So there is option. I mean, even that you might think is quite funny. Like, for instance, somebody comes in and they like magic tricks, and okay, they're not Paul Daniels, if you remember who he was, but that's fine because it's a safe place, and he can do the magic trick, and you can probably see how he's done it. But you can still give a clap at the end and encourage the individual. And so we see it as a sort of an environment where people can do that sort of thing.
Yeah, amazing.
You won the Lincolnshire Sport and Physical Activity Awards in 2024. First of all, congratulations on that. And so, what was your reaction when you found out you won it?
We were so shocked, weren't we?
I just want to say that I was actually when we were researching and when we see that, we were amazed. I like that. I feel like that's a big award.
That's a-
Oh,
yeah.
thanks, guys.
I'm
We
honoured
did.
to have you in the building. I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you on that. That was.
We should have brought the award.
Yeah, that's something. Me myself, I'd love to win something like that. That's. I think that's good.
Still
It's good.
great. Still good.
It was we were shocked because even though we know Ageless and Agile is an amazing program and we absolutely love delivering it and the people are amazing in our groups, it was still obviously, like you said, a huge award.
Yeah.
There was some really big people we were up against that we thought, oh, I'm not sure now. So we thought we'll have a nice evening out and get a nice meal, and we'll just enjoy it and see, because I'd not been to one at all. So it was great, but when they said we were the first award up, so we were quite nervous. We'd only just arrived and nobody knew where to go and what to do. But when they called it, well, it was
It's only in a bit of a trance almost. It's a funny thing is you've got 400 people plus who are looking on. Some of them from quite prestigious roles in public health or whatever. And so we go up and stood on the stage and all the bright lights are there and it's like, I think we maybe won something.
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was brilliant.
And everybody absolutely loved it, didn't they? We took it around the groups afterwards.
Yeah,
and
that was a nice part, taking it to the groups because they felt part of the
yeah,
win.
yeah.
Amazing.
Did the award inspire any new ideas or ambitions for what Ageless and Agile can achieve next?
Well, we're in our last year of funding for Ageless and Agile, so we're hoping obviously that once the last year it will continue on as a legacy. So this year there's been a lot of changes in terms of how we're trying to keep things moving with the last year, get more people going so that we can see where we're at by the end of the programme. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I would say as well, if we had a free reign, a bit like that question you asked earlier, then yes, we would step it up a few more notches now. But because we're a little bit dictated to or restricted by the funding, we don't have an open book. We can't just do the next thing. A little bit more restricted. But yeah, obviously it has changed the way we look at the group because I'm thinking, well, this is a winner of quite a big award. So there is something about it, and it is good even if we don't think it is.
Is there anything we could do as a community, like small local businesses, to help you continue?
I think obviously this is great that we're doing now. Since you guys started coming from County Care has been really good because obviously it's sort of changed the dynamics of the group, but in such a positive way. So you guys, like EJ, you get on really well with Andy. You know, you like your little jokes together, you two. But it's been really nice because I think Cameron and Barbara, there's been people that have suddenly sort of made friends that you wouldn't have expected to because you're maybe not coming across each other in your daily lives normally. Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, it's quite a unique one, the Skegness one. It's given it a new flavour, and that's really good because it's all about all of the community, as we referred earlier, and all of the ages. All your experiences are all important. But what you've just said there, obviously that's helpful because we're in the position where year by year the funding at the very beginning was shown that it will drop so much percent every year.
Yeah.
Obviously that makes it a little bit harder for us to do what we need to do, and also it's when it comes to the end of the funding, we don't want to see it die a death. That's always the thing. We want to see it carry on.
I think in terms of the community like support, as we were saying, it'd be things we're obviously putting up the leaflets, but if people can say if there's somebody they know would benefit from the group, it's passing on that information, putting leaflets up.
Who is the target audience that you're looking for in terms to come to the group? Who's the ideal person to come to the group? Just so anyone who listens to this has an idea that, well, if I have someone in mind, I think this group would benefit them.
Yeah, I mean, the people we've had in the past are often been, for example, maybe they're not in work, maybe they're a little bit isolated, maybe they're retired or they don't have anything to do. So it's not age restricted because you could be a younger person, but you feel you just need a little bit of support. So the group's offering you encouragement, support, physical activity, a laugh, a quiz, some awareness, some health promotion. So it's very diverse and it's not restricted to a certain people group. But if you're sat there listening thinking, well, I could do with a helping hand in my life in some way, the group will be able to help you.
We've got people, haven't we, in their 20s up to their
Yeah.
90s, so it's a very ranging, and we adapt the group as we do. So one of them is quite a bit older, so we adapt the activity and we
That's
adapt
right.
the session for that,
Yeah.
and then vice versa. We've got some younger groups. But yeah, it's not really an age, it's just
No.
that, as you said, if you're feeling like you maybe want to do something a little bit more social, join a group that are a bit more like-minded,
Yeah.
you've got a little bit of time in the day, and you want to do something, get socialising. It's
Yeah, and that's a big point of it, because the focus has never been, oh, it's just an exercise class. It's a lot more. It's that, but it's so much more on top
Yeah.
of that. And we listen to what people bring with them, and if somebody says, oh, it'd be really good if we could talk about some different countries and learn a bit about them, we'll try and put that in somewhere.
And we're going back to the embassy again.
Right, okay, so we were originally in the Embassy Theatre, that's run by Magnavita, and it's had a lot of new development there. And when I asked the question to them recently, it was thought to be at least April, maybe into May, before that's usable for us as a group. But at the moment, we're looking at another venue called Barratt Court, which is a platform housing place. So we're looking at the moment, because we spoke on yesterday, Tuesday, of
Yep.
the group, to give you a few ideas of how that could work for the group. It would mean a slightly different location, but we think it would work well in terms of more space, opportunities. So we're not sure about the embassy as yet.
What's a common misconception people have about aging staying active
Oh, okay.
that you wish you could correct?
Yeah, so as you said, yeah, people do presume that. They say, oh, well, you're going to come along to the class, you're just going to sort of sit there and do a little bit of this and that. But we have some, I mean, age, it is just a number.
Yeah.
Obviously, people have got different conditions at different ages, which we can adapt for. But we have had the group doing archery.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, people in the 90s doing archery.
Yeah.
We do, as we said before, seated exercise, so we do strengthening and balance. We do boccia. We like a bit of boccia, don't we,
we like a
AJ?
bit of boccia.
That can get quite competitive, but we like a bit of boccia.
That's good.
What else have we done?
Been out to the
activities-wise?
bowls club in Louth,
Yes.
tennis centre.
Yeah. So we've done lots of different activities, and really, I mean, the lady had said that when we were doing archery last. She said, "Oh, I wouldn't have thought on my 91st birthday, I'm sure it was, that I'd have been doing archery." So I said, "Oh well, next birthday we'll go canoeing."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Brilliant.
maybe not canoeing, but we try and do things that people have not had the chance to do, maybe, rather than just the generic things.
Yeah. What do you think the benefits are about, like, you say you have like different classes of like different age groups.
Yeah.
So how would you say how beneficial that's been?
Oh, very beneficial. Because we often used to use the phrase intergenerational, meaning if you've got a group of older people and much younger people, to see them getting on, that's quite a good thing.
That
Because
is a good thing.
I always like to think they learn from one another. It's not just the older teaching the younger, it's vice versa, it's both ways.
Yeah.
And to see the rapport building up between them, I think lowers prejudice or
Oh, exactly.
ideas between them and gives them a much healthier view of each other's generation.
Gives people a chance to try different things as well.
Absolutely.
You said you did, like,
And doing it together, there's something quite powerful about that.
you know, everything from like running to archery. Like, that's a good mixture there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We did a sports day.
Oh, yeah.
And all the ageless groups were invited to an age-friendly sports day that we did.
That's nice.
Yeah, so we adapted the activities for everybody, but we also had some children from the local school,
Oh, yeah.
and we had some people from the fire service. We had a real mix of people from the community.
Definitely.
But the kids that came along, because my youngest was there that day as well, the kids that came along, they absolutely loved it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it was
I bet,
the older ones mixing with the young ones. They went into the team. They were doing the activities that the older ones were finding more difficult, or if someone wasn't able to do something. But there was absolute buzz about the room, wasn't
It
there?
was, yeah. I think that's something.
That's great. Yeah. That's the best
Yeah.
way. Shows that people really enjoy it as well. They're able to sit down, have a laugh,
Yes.
and just like socialise and all that.
Definitely.